Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Rotary Club of Greenville. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Roger Heitzig. I'm your club president for 3 more meetings. Then it's Christine's turn. A few announcements here. First off, we have a packed agenda, as you might have noticed. So we're going to skip over Happy Bucks today, although I appreciate Ryan coming, or he said, yeah, there he is. But please pass the buckets around the table and put lots of cash in the buckets. If you don't have cash, we have conveniently put a QR code on the side of the bucket that you can scan with your phone and donate to CART that way. This Thursday, we have coffee and conversation at Carmela's, which is here in downtown at 9 a.m. on Thursday. Please join us. We've been having really great turnouts for those lately, and it's also a great place to bring potential members to come have a casual environment with us. Next Tuesday night, we have Discover Rotary at Craig Golden Davis. Then the following Thursday, we have our After Hours Club. Despite what it says on your table, the After Hours Club is not at local Q this month. We're actually meeting at Spare Time, which is off, I think it's Congaree there, the new place for bowling. One of our members is sponsoring that. And so should be a great time. Join us at 5:30 on Thursday the 22nd. Tuesday, May 27th, our new networking group, we finally got it off the ground, but they're meeting before the meeting at 10:30 at Merrill Gardens. And it's called the Rotary Roundtable Referral Session. So that's the name that they've come up with. And thanks to Jeff is around here someplace for helping us get that off the ground. And as always, at our second monthly meeting, we have Discover Rotary before lunch. And our speaker in 2 weeks is Patrick Eakes, who's he's our zone director for Rotary, so pretty senior in the organization. I saw him speak about 1.5 years ago. He is a fascinating person to listen to. He's got a long Rotary story. He's going to talk to us about peace, and he's going to talk to us about polio and the things that Rotary's done. The polio story, if you haven't heard it, is absolutely fascinating. I highly recommend y'all come out and listen to that. Survey, the response has been lukewarm. We had much better response when we did our club survey about what's going on in the club versus what you all want to do for the club. So we're going to leave that open for a few more days. Give you all a chance to respond to what you might be interested in, and I'll probably send out one more link and reminder. And last but not least, it's that wonderful time of year when your Rotary invoices are coming to you. So you probably all saw an email yesterday from Christine and I explaining the charges and the kind of a little bit of restructuring that we've done with it between the meals and the club dues. And please pay promptly so Jenny doesn't have to chase you down. All right, if you bow your heads, please. As we gather today in fellowship and service, may we be guided by wisdom, inspired by purpose, and united in goodwill. May our actions reflect the values of Rotary and bring positive change to our community and beyond. If you please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we've got one new member video today. Christopher, where's Christopher? You just wave. Christopher's over there. Remember, to get from red to blue, you need to call me and get scheduled to do your new member video. The hardest part, everybody tells me, is coming up with their own walk-up song. Once you sort that out, then there's 3 easy questions. So go ahead and roll that.
Yeah, so I am Christopher Cairns, married, also dad of 3, Carson, Lacey, and Abram. Their ages 5 to 10. I'm a recently retired military officer. I was in the United States Air Force for 20 years. I was a rescue helicopter pilot during most of that time. We retired overseas just at the tail end of last year. And then we came here to Greenville to put roots down for the family. Yeah, once we moved to Greenville, we got here, got the family all situated, and I was looking to make connections, I think, as a lot of people do after they move. But I was hoping to make maybe some more meaningful connections, also outside of the work circle or sphere, and hopefully the type that are with folks that kind of share a similar mentality and also enjoy helping folks. So I had a friend who I was talking about this, and he suggested that I reach out to Rotary, and I did, and here I am. Shortly after I joined the Rotary early this spring, the club was putting on, partnered with Rebuild Upstate, a deck build for an elderly couple, and it was really trying to achieve two goals: expand their deck, but make sure it was a little bit more wheelchair accessible. So I joined that project, did a shift with one of the days of the deck build. Absolutely loved it. I really enjoy building things in general, and it's really rewarding when you can build something and that thing makes somebody's life better, the recipient of the build. And that's definitely that project. And I'm hoping to actually get a chance to do more like it with the Rotary Club in the future, because it was very rewarding.
Welcome, Christopher. And also welcome to our new guests. Thanks for all for joining us. My name is Jeff Pettis. I'm going to announce the guest names. If the guests could please rise, we're going to recognize you. Hold your applause until the end. The club would like to welcome Jared Hartzell, Roger Drew, Kathy Miller. Did we miss anybody else from your entourage? Okay, very good. If y'all could stand, please. Karen Jones and Liz Newell, guests of Jane Dyer. Jeannie Getchell, guest of Rusty Infinger. Jonathan Chavis, guest of Philip Snyder. Ed Clapper, a guest of Mark Leonard. Chris Rizzo, guest of Bob Howard. Molly Fenson, guest of Susie Tumblin. Sam Doyle, guest of Mark Leonard. Kristen Austin, guest of Ryan Thackeray. Rebecca West, guest of George Fletcher. And Monty Whitson. Huge crew today. Welcome everybody for joining us. Thank you. And I'm going to exit as part of that presentation and re-enter as the chair of the new Greenville Rotary Networking Club. I hope you all can join us. We're going to meet at Merrill Gardens 10 Thursday on the 27th, just before our Rotary meeting. It's going to be BNI-esque, not as strict as BNI, but the goal is going to be developing really good relationships with one another with an eye towards referring new business amongst our members. We, I hope, know, like, and trust one another here, so much so that we're willing to do business with one another. So I will send out an email May 27th, 10:30, Merrill Gardens next week. Send me an email if you don't mind. You'll find it in DACDB, just so I have an idea of how many people are going to be joining us. Look forward to seeing you. And if we can call up Lisa to introduce our Alexandra Elementary students guests. Thank you.
I'm going to introduce the Alexandra Elementary teacher and staff members of the month. They will rise and also hold your applause. Okay. Julia Midget is a special needs teacher. This is her 4th year in education. And Sandra Bragoso is a multilingual teacher and library aide who is completing her 12th year in education. Please welcome our guests.
Good afternoon. I am here to announce our 2025-26 Service Above Self Scholar. It's an exciting moment, I know, each and every year. Before I do that, I did want to recognize the committee who put in a lot of work, time and effort. It was it's amazing when you start reading through some of these resumes and the accomplishments of these young people. It's fantastic to know that we got a bright future ahead. Dee, are you in the house? Dee Kivitt, our chair. Bert Strange, I don't know if Bert's here. Kelly Byers, Jack Behringer, Greg Baylaw, and yours truly. So give these folks a nice round of applause for recognizing this committee. Today's recipient is with us today, along with her dad, Brett. And when I've started reading through some of her accolades there, I didn't know you could have a 5.634 GPA. I started thinking I maybe multiply mine by 2, I could get to that. A 1500 SAT, number 2 ranking out of 391 at Greenville High School. I'd love to see who number 1 is. She made 31 100s in classes. Okay, that's A++, all that kind of good stuff. 6 99s and 4, never finished below a 95 in a class, which is remarkable. She's got so many accolades that I could go on and on and on there, but one that really stuck with us was her ability to do a gingerbread architect. She has done the high school as a gingerbread. She has done her father's childhood home as gingerbread, and a beach cottage, which is all where we want to go here in the next few weeks, I'm sure. So without further ado, I would like to announce our Service Above Self Scholar, Miss Erin Helsel. Congratulations.
Okay, good afternoon, Rotary Club, and thank you, Steve, for that introduction. First, it's truly a pleasure to be with you all here today, and I am truly just so thankful for y'all's commitment to furthering young people's education through the Service Above Self Scholarship. And special thanks to the Scholarship Review Committee for seeing my accolades as something that y'all want to keep putting funds into. So I thought I would take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Erin Helsel. I attend Greenville Senior High School right down the road, and I've lived in Greenville my entire life. My father's a civil engineer and is here with us today, and my mother is a 3rd grade teacher at Stone Academy. I'm also a law magnet student at Greenville High School, which really kind of piqued my interest in public service and the different ways that you can impact your community through government. And both my mother's profession and that kind of made me want to study the intersections between public service and education. In school, I'm a little bit hard to pin down. I'm the principal cellist in our school's orchestra, on the varsity volleyball team, and an attorney for our mock trial team. Outside of school, I've held internships, both legal and public service oriented. I had one this past summer at Doherty and Manning right downtown. And I've also been a named co-author on a public health research paper with faculty at Furman University. Now, perhaps my favorite extracurricular is slightly less serious, but probably closest to my heart, and my favorite hobby, which is baking, as Steve explained with the gingerbread houses. Aside from that, I also have a small baking club at my school, and we have an initiative we like to call Cakes for Kids, which is probably my favorite way that I've ever impacted my community. Through this program, we're able to donate birthday cakes to kids in need throughout Greenville. We partner with elementary schools, after-school programs, and homeless shelters to bring these kids things they wouldn't get otherwise. We get to do all these fun themes. I've made cakes that are talkie themed, Fortnite themed, rainbow unicorns, all of the above. And it's truly just been one of my favorite ways that I've been able to interact with the Greenville community. That brings me to my future plans. Next year, I'd expect to attend the University of South Carolina Honors College as a top scholar, one of the top 50 applicants to the university as a whole. I'm so excited to entertain all the opportunities the university has to offer, including their state legislator internship program, their Washington semester, as well as the ability to intern at the Appleseed Legal Justice Center, where I can continue my food-based advocacy work and work to advocate for students' rights in education. Once again, I would just like to express my sincere gratitude to the Rotary Club, and I hope I can represent you well. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. If some of you can remember just a few months ago, it seems like Hurricane Helene came through the upstate and did some of the most damage that natural disaster has done in our area. We all were inconvenienced by things like loss of power and loss of internet and all those inconveniences of life. But for the people in our area who are food insecure, life became very difficult. Not only were the food banks that they depend on closed, a lot of them lost their refrigeration and lost food, things like that. And our club, and I admired this, responded very greatly and provided a lot of immediate service to things like Ronald McDonald House. Our area still has had trouble recovering from food insecurity. We did a study at the end of December, 3 months after Hurricane Helene went through. There was still a 200% increase in people needing food from our local food banks. Patrick Eakes, our zone director, who will be here at our next meeting, is also over our zone disaster relief grant program. And he virtually insisted that we as a district apply. It's the first time ever that money has come back to our district. We give freely and generously to other areas of the world that have severe needs, but it's the first time our money has come back to us to fulfill a grant. And so this is where we need your help. And here's the good news. The hard work is over. For the past 2 Mondays, some of us have been out at Harvest Hope Food Bank, the largest food distributor in South Carolina, doing things like packing groceries and taking carts out to car lines. And our president, Roger Heisig, who ended his career as a plant manager, got to fulfill a lifelong dream of being able to spend a morning crushing cardboard boxes, something they would not allow him to do at Bosch. He was not qualified for that, but he was at Harvest Hope. So we need just a couple simple things. Christina Veland, who gets a lot of credit for heading this up for our club, has compiled a list of items that Harvest Hope needs. If everyone at the next meeting could bring 2 items, we would have a bountiful display of food items to show Patrick Eakes when he comes here for his meeting to speak to our club. There is also a handy QR code for those who don't want to bring items that you can do a small donation. It's one of the rare times you will hear me emphasize small. We have had some generous donors step up with larger donations, but what we need, to be quite honest, is to fulfill a metric that shows participation by this club in this project. So either a small donation through the QR code or bring a couple items next week. We would love for Patrick to walk in and see where we have not only fulfilled the expectations of the grant, but we have made sure that those in our community who do not sometimes know where their next meal is coming from, that we can show that we have, with our very warm hearts, participated in this project. Any information you need afterwards, Christina or I will be able to provide it for you. So thanks a lot, and don't forget your 2 items of food next meeting. Did it first.
It's never too early to get festive. And as you all know, this club has been part of holiday traditions for well over 50 years. So starting all the way back for the Singing Christmas Tree, which ran for decades, and then the Roper Mountain Family Lights, which also ran for decades. And now we are approaching our 5th year anniversary of Holiday Fair plus Kringle Village, except you're about to hear that it's got a new and improved name. And look at this logo where it's front and center demonstrating that this event is benefiting Rotary Club of Greenville. So let's have an applause for that right away. Many of you have supported this, been elves in so many ways. I'm going to tell you very quickly the recap from last year, and then we're going to talk about the success coming forward. So let's advance this guy. Okay, so last year was a new partnership. We moved indoors. We wanted to get a roof over our head, but more importantly, yes, so now we're weatherproof, but more importantly, we also wanted to align with a partner that was going to help us have a built-in audience and deliver an exceptional event for our market. So last year we served over 11,000 guests, and we have some exciting news about how we expect to serve even more. Obviously, the ultimate goal for this in addition to building a beautiful event for our community, is to raise money for charities. That's been the goal for all of these events. This was a new relationship, and so we did a few things. We had some lessons to learn. We spent some funds working on doing events that didn't have as much return as we had hoped they would. So like we did nighttime movies, we had some bands, we did some beautiful evening events that just weren't well attended. So we listened to the feedback, we learned, we looked at the traffic pattern. Everybody had an opportunity, all the volunteers pitched in and gave their feedback. And then we worked with the Greenville Convention Center to plan for the future so that we can also add an extra day, Sunday. As you know, last year we were not able to have Sunday because they had already committed to it being ending at Saturday, but this year we will be able to have Sunday. So bottom line, we did break even last year. That's a lot of work to just break even. So that's not the plan for going forward, but it allowed us to set the stage for future success. And I do want to acknowledge and appreciate those of you that work with the Greenville Convention Center. This is an important fact to know that they made a donation to make sure that the gap was filled so that this event would break even. They look at that. Yeah, it's worth an applause. Very nice. That's what partnership is about. They believed in the hard work of Rotary. They believed in what we could do together for the future. And they believed that that was a donation to invest in our future together. But importantly, now that sets us up for the success going forward. And we've been able to work a relationship with them where there will be an upfront donation this year. So we know going in what their donation will be. We also have a ticket incentive this year. So every ticket sold will have a percentage going back to Rotary. We are expanding to Sunday, which right there is going to increase our attendance from probably 11,000 up to 15,000. We have changed the connectivity so that those of you that saw how it sort of felt like it was their event and our event, now it's all going to be in one big area so that everything will flow more smoothly. And we have an opportunity to have a merchandise booth at the fair. And just to give you some perspective on the size and scope of this fair, this is one of the largest fairs in the Southeast. It's definitely they have over 375 vendors taking up over 400 booths and the opportunity to expand that. So it's a really big deal that we have an opportunity to create events that are going to be fun for children and families, but also to expose all of those guests to what Rotary means. The focus of our work and our volunteer work will be in the children's area, where we're going to grow the South's largest snowball fight. The arena will be bigger and better than ever before. Santa will be front and center. And then we'll also continue to have the opportunities for the revenue generating things that have worked for us in the past, such as the raffle, the silent auction, and Jane's going to tell you about how you get involved.
Okay, thanks. Like Marty was saying, we're going to do the things we did great last year, which was the volunteers, the decorations, the decor, the imagination, the building. Where's Christopher? You're on the list. We're going to build a huge Santa mountain, hopefully for the North Pole. So it's going to be really fun. And for marketing, the things that we're going to do to make money. The things we're going to do to make money are sponsorships. As you all know, they're very important. The silent auction, the 50-50 raffle, and the Rotary booth. Just so you know, this is kind of where we get the money from. And as you'll see, sponsorships is really big. This year, we're not going for the big sponsorships, $2,500 or $1,000. You need to ask your employer, or if you're the employer, you need to make this happen. So we'll be contacting you about sponsorships and, of course, the ticket sales from the convention center. What can you do right now? You can be a sponsor. You can get involved with collecting donations for the silent auction. You can join now to be a volunteer in the planning phase. The other big thing that takes no effort is social media. Now, some of you are not on social media, but I bet there's somebody at your house who's on social media. So share with them this opportunity they have for social media. And so why do we do this? We do this for our amazing Service Above Self scholars. We do this for Alexander Elementary School. We do this for the things that our club is so committed to. So there's a reason for it, other than having fun, meeting other Rotarians, really getting involved with our club, is so we can continue the great work of our club. Thank you. If you have questions, you can ask Marty or me. Marty's one of the busiest people I've ever met in my life. I'm kind of a slum bag sometimes. So call me, and if you want to volunteer today, I'll be here.
All right. Thank you, guys. Let's keep making this happen.
Good afternoon, club. Today, we have the privilege of welcoming the CEO of the Greenville City Economic Development Corporation. He is a legend in the Greenville business community, and we're lucky to have him to share with us today, Mr. Sam Konduros.
Yeah, you had me at legend. Okay. There's some people chuckling with that in this room. It's hard to believe 30 years ago, I had the privilege just out of law school to help recruit BMW up to this part of the world. And then was working with several major supplier companies that were coming from Europe to Greenville, South Carolina. And one of them was crazy enough to hire a 29-year-old kid to head their US operations. And so I knew I needed to get married because the woman I loved, I was dating, brought her here, and we fell in love with this city, and you couldn't pry me out of it now. 30 years ago, hard to believe. I see many, many familiar faces in this room, truly all the way around, and mentors of mine. When I was, hard to believe, that young buck who showed up in Greenville, and a lot of people really helped me along the way. And the spirit of collaboration in this community has always been incredible. Greenville, I'm going to talk a little bit about public-private partnerships and those sort of things. We just do it better than any place that I have ever been to. And while I've had the privilege to serve in a number of roles, and my passion has always been first and foremost economic development. It's kind of close to a ministry for me. God does work in mysterious ways. If you had told me 2 years ago that I would be spearheading a new economic development corporation for the city of Greenville that I didn't even know we were brewing at the time, I probably wouldn't have believed it. So this is a mission job, labor of love. There's no other city in the world I would do it for because this is my favorite city on the planet. Glad to have some of my team members here. We have 2 brand new team members today who are, as we're trying to expand this mission. So I'm gonna take you kind of through a quick journey about this new economic development corporation that we have launched. I call it Greenville City EDC. It's definitely easier to say than GC EDC for sure, but it's been quite a ride for this past year. Had my 1-year anniversary on April 22nd, and it has been fast and furious because this city is going like this. And I can tell you right now, if we sat on our hands and did nothing, Greenville would continue to grow rapidly. So one of the purposes of this corporation was smart growth. Let's get really strategic about where we want to be in the next 5 years, 10 years, because the people aren't going to stop coming. It's really how we manage it, how smart can we be about it. And you know, the beautiful thing about where we are today with Greenville, we can actually really use the word selective. We can be selective. And I think rather than waiting for what's going to come our way, this is a chance for us to be kind of bold and create an economic development engine machine for the city and a business recruitment machine to go for the apples higher up the tree. And because Greenville has really entered a whole new level of development. We are matching up with cities now like Austin, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, Raleigh, Durham. We're competing at the highest possible level. Some amazing projects that are entering our pipeline right now. So it's a privilege. So very quickly, there's a 46-page strategic plan for economic development that the city developed before I was hired. I'm going to spare you the 46 pages, though it is a pretty interesting read if you go on our website. But the 7 major goal areas are innovation, talent, investment for the future. So think of everything that is about catalyzing great investments for the city and creating high-paying, high-quality jobs for our citizens and raising per capita income. We want it to be a place for everybody. So how do we design strategies in economic development that cascade more widely and that accelerate economic mobility for all of our citizens. Livability gets into really grappling with some of the serious challenges that, the double-edged sword of being a growing, thriving city like Greenville, attracting people not only from around the country, but from around the world, are affordable housing, transportation issues, to get our public transit system at a whole nother level, to continue to build on our success as a city of mobility where you can walk and bike, and the fact that we'll connect the Swamp Rabbit Trail all the way to the ICAR campus this year is really a cool thing. But that is livability, and these are things we have to face in what I'll call tech-based leading-edge economic development of the year 2025 in Greenville. Intentional placemaking, we're a city that people love to visit, and I think we never dreamed we'd be the level of destination that we are, and so many people to credit, including the mayor, who wasn't able to be here today. But one of the reasons I took this job too, again, the resilience and the vision and leadership it takes to tear down a bridge that people drive over to create Liberty Bridge and Falls Park, and the way that exploded open the West End. And then to say, you know what, we got an okay ball field out in the suburbs, but let's not just bring a new ball field downtown. Let's create a new lifestyle innovation district with that. Unity Park, that was a tough battle. Y'all are serious Greenvillians. You know what I'm talking about. These things are not done easily. It takes tenacity, vision, and not letting good be the enemy of great. That is the placemaking that has helped define the city and makes us one of the most experiential cities in the country. We look good on paper, a lot of cities do, but the real magic of Greenville is how people feel when they are walking through this downtown and down to the river and the park, and it typically blows people away. So I feel very fortunate that I get to work on that seventh one, which is build this machine, build a rock star team that I can have the privilege of supporting, mentoring, and that can help balance my life a little bit better in the coming year or two, and see if we can, as public servants, really just help the city keep achieving its goals. All right, so great board of directors, great diversity, amazing city manager who's an urban planner. And I talked about the mayor. Investment, innovation, and talent are the three biggies, I would say. We are on the global radar screen. It was funny, for the first 20 years I was here, I kept hearing about we're such a nice, well-kept secret. Greenville is no secret. And that is part of why we have to be really strategic about where we go. It was pretty cool to start in April of last year, and in May, U.S. News names Greenville the 4th best city in America to live in. That's quite a feat. Travel and Leisure calls it 10 most beautiful and affordable places to live in the United States. And then The Economist, what's cool, because we know we're a great Instagram city. People want that selfie with the waterfall behind them and all that stuff. But when you've got the London-based Economist putting Greenville on their cover to describe rising new startup ecosystems in the United States in unexpected places, that was really something we were proud of and we'll continue to try to build on. So I talked about how do we get more aggressive and bold about what we want. So we have launched unprecedented business recruitment strategies now for the city, whether it's Silicon Valley. Europe will continue to be a major pipeline as many European companies look at Greenville as the perfect place to set foot in North America and to launch their businesses from. I think this is something important, especially to, look, you're the premier Rotary, and again, so many leaders in this room. And you need to care about how are we doing together, because we have a number of organizations. And so what I would tell you is we are working really hard to integrate our efforts to be very aligned. I had my 6th meeting in a series every other month with the CEOs of all 5 of the largest economic development organizations that drive Greenville: GADC, ourselves, the Upstate Alliance, Greenville Chamber, and Visit Greenville SC. And we are really working on our North Star of what does shared economic prosperity look like for this community, and how can we best align our efforts to achieve it together. Here's an exciting thing, but this kind of keeps me up at night sometimes. We right now have 144 active economic development initiatives and projects in our pipeline. This is something we comb through every 2 weeks. So yes, that means very legitimate leads, prospects, active projects, all that need responses. So it keeps a small team very busy. So we have to be innovative about what we do. And one of my number one strategies is hiring a very tech savvy crew who brings a lot of innovation and technology and tools that we're using to make our ability to work smarter, not harder. Let's talk for a couple of minutes just about why Greenville. I will tell you, at a very high level, we had one of the biggest projects that's ever looked at this city that we've been working on over the past month, and we presented to them last week. And we talked about all these things: location, workforce and talent, that innovation ecosystem that I was describing, global connections, business friendly, quality of life. These can sound kind of like I like pizza, because a lot of cities want to say it. I think we can really back it up in Greenville with data. I'll highlight a couple of things that are our special sauce. Having the highest concentration of international investment in the United States is pretty amazing. And you see that cluster around Greenville, Spartanburg. We have really become a global city. And in our immediate region around us, 579 foreign-owned companies, representing 36 different countries. ICAR, another one of those big stories. This became the largest automotive mobility research and innovation campus in the United States out of Detroit, right here in Greenville, right in the city. And these are the kind of assets that we can really build on, because while we had a great history of tier 2 and tier 3 suppliers, tier 1 system integrators, then BMW came, and suddenly we're building some of the best cars in the world with some of the most restless engineering companies. This was a revolutionary public-private partnership to take us into a true knowledge economy, where we become the window to the future of the automotive industry. We've gotten a lot bigger, and it's a double-edged sword, and we know that, and those are things that we have to work on. But right now, if you look at really the regional population around our county that has right at about 600,000 people now, we're pushing quickly toward 1.6 million within 100 miles of downtown Greenville, because we hit the suburbs of northeastern Atlanta and Charlotte. 7.5 million people within 100 miles. So we're denser than people think, and have a lot of people coming in, with about 28 people a day moving into Greenville County now. So I'm going to give you also a quick snapshot of one of the realities, because I think there's a lot of talk about this, and we understand that there's even a subset of folks saying, please, no more growth. Well, we're not going to stop the growth. So again, we have to be smart about it, and I think growth is important. It's just how we evolve, again, how we channel it. And there are aspirational projects that we want to be competitive. So I'm going to talk for a second about incentives and why they are important, because I think we need more education and awareness around this. We don't lead with anything cheap in Greenville. It's not about cheap. It's not about commodities. We lead with lifestyle, quality of life. There's a reason, if you look at Federal Reserve data right now, because we wanted to analyze, where are all these people coming from? 28 people a day. Number 2, Mecklenburg County, North Carolina. Number 6, Cobb County, Georgia, Atlanta. Meaning the city that used to be kind of considered a pleasant speed bump between Atlanta and Charlotte on this carotid artery 85 are now where they want to live, because we've captured something here. We don't want to become Atlanta. We don't want to become Charlotte. We are going to be bigger, but I think we've learned a lot of things. And so the question is, how do we capitalize on what we've learned? And one thing we know is part of our special sauce, our secret formula, is the lifestyle that we have here in this big urban village. So we are, while we grow, going to work hard to protect that unique DNA of Greenville. But we are competing with some of the top cities in the United States for the kind of projects we do want, with average salaries way over $100,000 a year and that kind of thing for our citizens. Here's what I would tell you that might surprise you, because some people are like, I don't believe in incentives. Until we overhaul our tax code, South Carolina has the second highest industrial, commercial property taxes in the nation. Most people don't know that, because personally, we're very competitive. But without fee in lieu of taxes, without some of the tools that we utilize until we change our tax code, we literally rank second highest in the country. So some of the incentives that we bring to the table for projects that really warrant it and that really match up with our mission and our goals is simply to level the playing field so that we can even compete directly with North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, much less Austin, Texas, and really get into the merits of what we have to offer. So I think that's an important perspective. Data speaks sometime. And so it is very important that we intelligently look at discretionary incentives that are what is creating a lot of the elements of the city that you love. The other thing is this, much of what we work on, when I talked about investment earlier, it's not just what I'm going to say more traditionally, advanced manufacturing, which this city has built on the amazing history of the textile industry. Really, it created a multi-generational industrial workforce that with visionary leaders, when that industry collapsed, we were able to reinvent and retrain and create a workforce that, again, can build Lockheed F-16 next generation planes, BMWs, and now life sciences as the fastest growing industry in Greenville, where we have cancer diagnostics companies here. So it's pretty cool. But again, to be competitive in this day and time, a lot of what we are also working on beyond advanced manufacturing, again, headquarters, office, tech companies, it's also retail, mixed use, live, work, play, great hotels, innovation districts, R&D, laboratories. A lot of our projects do not qualify for state incentives or even county incentives in certain cases. So we have had to be in a time where the lending rates are still kind of through the roof. Construction costs are incredibly high. You throw tariffs in the mix right now, there's a lot of unease in the industry. So we continue to catalyze a lot of fantastic deals and opportunities by seeing how we can creatively work with great partners to create a win-win where, again, 1 + 1 = 4 or 5. And what that's leading to are some really high-impact economic development projects that are helping reshape our city. Gateway Tower, finally, the Bermuda Triangle of Memorial Auditorium is going to be filled. And I mean, we've been working so closely with that development team. It's a great partnership. That is a great example of getting shoulder to shoulder and what a public-private partnership can achieve, and it would not have happened without that. So the tallest building in the state of South Carolina, and it's going to be an amazing, seamless pedestrian connectivity from the Arena District to downtown, and it's height in the right place is what I would say. But from that to a reinvention of existing office buildings like where Prisma headquarters in Lima 1 is now and activating a whole new retail district on that part of downtown. UCB moving a headquarters from the state of Georgia to now just an incredible facility overlooking the river. And then again, Samaritan Biologics. ICAR has actually opened one technology neighborhood up that allows life science technology companies to go out there. And so we have some leading edge companies out there to unique programs like the Facade Improvement Program, where we will match certain businesses up to $250,000 to transform the exterior of their building and improve the streetscape. Now, I know all of you love the turquoise blue that was City Tavern. And I would say I'm good friends with Scott Woods, a great guy, but this is a massive improvement. And again, it's just not possible without the creativity of a city like Greenville. So these public-private partnerships really do work. They catalyze great opportunities. Here is just 90 seconds. So that is your city, and you've all had a role in helping build the city. Some of you for decades, some of you are some of the newest residents and will keep contributing to it. And we hope this corporation that we formed is something that you'll be able to engage with actively. Follow us, check out the website. If you like that video, we've had a lot of businesses that wanted to use it. Our comms department created, I thought they did a great job in 90 seconds of actually capturing some of that energy of Greenville. And so anyway, it's been such a pleasure to get to hang out with y'all today. And I'm honored that you asked me to come speak and tell you more about it. Yes, questions? Okay. There's no competition as I see it, especially with the county, because we are part of the county. I think the realization was the city of Greenville, which in some ways is the capital of the upstate, you know, in the same way that Charlotte is a magnet for 10 counties that wrap around Charlotte and Mecklenburg, Greenville has become a centerpiece of the upstate. And our economic development needs for the city are vastly different than most of the rest of South Carolina. Just like I told you, a lot of the projects that we work on for this city do not qualify for state and county incentives. And the county does not work on retail strategies or hotels or mixed use projects or a whole variety of things. Where we do, we've been working hand in glove on a couple of the major projects that do involve both state, county, and city incentives. So, I'd say very actively lately. So I think, you know, Greer, I just cheer on the region. You know, I had the privilege of being the first CEO of Upstate Alliance, where we realized you can't have a bunch of cities and towns and counties squabbling over things and be territorial and defensive. It's about offense. We have a great region. Really, the Carolinas are a great brand internationally. So, you know, I cheer for all the cities and the counties wrapped around us. The city of Greenville will continue to be a magnet for this entire region. Many, many companies will come here and they won't necessarily put their business right in the city, but they'll eat here, they'll sleep here, they may live here. And so we work together really well. And that's why I was telling you about that deliberate strategy, the 5 big organizations, board chairs, CEOs, and that includes in certain occasions, the mayor, chairman of county council, city manager, all coming together about every 2 months to make sure that we're being very deliberate and not just running into each other at receptions. Other questions? Another great question. I'm going to say the growth is something that has to be managed. And again, to make sure that we keep benefiting from the growth while there are going to be some strains on affordable housing, infrastructure, things like that. That's probably the 2 big burning pyres. And when you hear people that get a little bit into the anti-growth mode, it's often tied to they feel like they're battling traffic and cost of houses is getting unattainable. So we are having to be a lot of economic development organizations don't focus on those things. They're really recruiting. We do. And that's part of even the answer to the question of the county and city. The city is formed a corporation to grapple with some of those challenges as part of what we work on every day and what our role is on that. But I'd say those are probably the biggest. And then we want to make sure, again, talent. This comes up over and over, working with some of the incredible companies that are looking at bringing, you know, headquarters and other things here. We're one of the smaller cities that they're really interested in. But we spend a lot of time on that discussion about talent. Now, to make you feel good, I give my colleagues credit for how the city is managed. Walking around with some of those prospects, they're like, this city feels so safe. Crime is actually down. This city is impeccably clean. These kind of things really make a statement. Good question. Right now, 100% the city, but part of the formation of this corporation was to be able to leverage being a corporation. And what I would tell you is there are some elements of economic development that I would like to not utilize taxpayer funding for. And so we are building an investor platform that we will kind of open up to engage the corporate community more. And then think of when we're bringing venture capitalists in, or we're doing aggressive recruitment missions to Europe. Those are things I'd like other sources of capital for. So the cool thing about this corporation is it allows us to flex some different muscles. Right now, it's kind of like a vehicle in the driveway with a whole lot of new features, and we're just starting to use some of them. But we can form private LLCs, we can attract capital, we can invest. So stay tuned, and we're looking forward to it. Right. So clearly in a region where we have one of the most mature automotive and mobility clusters in the country now, and that has become a huge spectrum. I mean, part of my meetings in Silicon Valley were with autonomous vehicle and autonomous aircraft companies. I mean, we have to think now about vertiports and how do we manage airspace for drones and all kinds of next generation things. Headquarters and office is going to be a big one for us, clearly on the industry side, but life sciences also spans a very wide spectrum, as does advanced materials. The ICAR campus when I look at what we can do on 1.6 acres in downtown Greenville, that's the size of the site that Gateway's going on. And we have 250 acres at ICAR that really we're working on what is a bold new 2.0 plan for ICAR to put a lot of what I'll call very tech-based life science and future mobility companies out there. But it is a wide spectrum of segments that we're focused on. All right. Listen, thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, you got to wrap up.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. That was great. Thank you so much, Sam, for that. We got a minute here left. So I'm going to let Christine give her happy buck into the bucket.
So I am happy, $20. We lived in a big, beautiful house, 6,500 square feet in Greer for 14 years. And we decided to build a house at Lake Kiowee and actually moved down there. And we put our house on the market and it sat there for a year. I switched agents. It sold in 24 hours. But then that gave me about 3 weeks to clear out a 6,500 square foot house while my husband went out of town to work, bless his heart. But I did it. We closed, we paid off the mortgage and some other debt, and I feel really good.
Congratulations. So you offset those 23 people that moved to Greenville on that day. Congratulations to our scholarship recipient. That is just an amazing resume. I just blows everything other than the USC thing, but the rest of that just blows me away. And if you'll all stand with me, we'll do the four-way test and be on our way. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?